You in my lungs. She. Trust me, I judge you every time I see you, but I never judge you so.
I don't watch cricket. My father watches for me. So
I'm judging you so hard right now. I don't like people who support Mumbai Indians.
I don't watch IPL. My father watches.
Wait, you don't watch cricket?
I watch the World Cup, but I
Okay, now I'm judging you even more. I find every reason to find fault with you. Are you finding every reason to find
He's
fault?
giving me reasons.
I don't
See, I only watch cricket when there's like a India's playing a match. So then national. I don't watch the IPL.
I know I'm supposed to look at the tape of and
Injury
Hey, Wednesday का live stream. क्या?
अभी
the genes, not mine. My genes are linked. In my genes. I would say 2%.
What? She actually practice casually. She drinks wine every Sunday.
I do not.
She drinks wine every Sunday and she eats pebbles.
Peppers, what the hell?
Yours over here. Yours over here. She eats pebbles and drinks wine.
I don't think my and the red is his body.
Who cares? It's pebbles.
It is not pebbles. So.
Very good.
That's
That's a hot dance.
No,
That's very attractive.
do not touch it. Do not touch it. You take this step.
No, Adnan, please don't do that.
It's my bad.
It's your daddy's. No, see, my dad is very far.
Keyword bad. It's not that guy has 2 kids and
I enjoy the day. And the kids are also very I've been singing. He was actually doing that. Singing for 6 months. It's not a achievement, it's just bad.
चोरी हो गया
I don't know why I like this. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Sorry.
Giant Alpha does that to people. It happens. I blame you in this.
I don't know who to
Why
blame.
they try? So without that, when I have
क्या हुआ
some basic spoken is autistic. To put it very easily, he is autistic. He is Pratichi, bro. He's not even nice about it. He basically, his mother tried to force him in her childhood, trying to kill him. So when it's just he has no parents, he doesn't have children. He's gay and he's autistic. Like he's actually autistic. It's not that he actually has autism whatsoever. He's my classmate. He has. ऐसी कोई का नहीं है
Wait, stop.
No, that's
हाँ,
not.
यार,
It's like a bit more.
ये
Just
तो
say it
आई-
out loud like that.
You're so genius. No, that's why your parents take up the psychologist.
Why?
That's why your parents take up the psychologist. So you can ask her to give the best.
That's so.
It's not me, it's genius. It goes like true love, just that's like it's
Sending
No.
तू बात कर रही है
No. Again, I blame you in this.
Based on normal.
I blame you in this.
Then how they know this?
They're very good. You and I do. Look at you. We are both doing it. That's it. You're fine. Yes, I'm fine. Please.
Don't stop right now.
It's the wine.
She said why? You. I don't know what they were doing. You're pretty good. That's why.
Basically, that's my issue.
I will not shower you now.
Oh shit, sorry. मुझे पूरा महीना मेकअप चाहिए सुबह से शाम तक मैंने पूरा मेकअप शुरू बर्बाद किया
Yeah, but you want to check it. No, no,
That's right. You said here. No, Children is for you said back. ऐसा तो कर लेता Sorry. नहीं आप तो तोड़ देगा भाई तुम से कौन बेंच को हम कर रहा ये what why you humping the bench that is not the appropriate word to be used here I was shaking my legs. There's a difference. Oh my God! What the hell is in a post? Not I'm a medical related, so I know if the you know what what a holy God is. Don't try. Good evening. We start again. We start again with we were discussing about heterotrophic mode. And for heterotrophic mode of nutrition, we had stopped with what? Saprotrophic. We had learned 3 modes of heterotrophic nutrition. 3 modes of heterotrophic nutrition. What was it? Holozoic, parasitic, and saprotrophic. Example of holozoic?
Human.
Example of saprotrophic?
Fungi.
Yeast. Example of saprotrophic? Mushrooms. Any type of a fungi? Yeast, no, don't write yeast. And when we are talking about example of parasitic, parasitic, tapeworm. So now, give an example of a parasite. Give example of a fungi. Why are fungi known as saprotrophs? All these are the common questions that you get in your paper. Fungi are saprotrophs. Explain what to write. Fungi are saprotrophs. Why? Because fungi always feed on the soluble nutrients of dead and decaying organic matter. Whenever the process of decomposition is happening, always to remember, now that a dead plant is there, dead part of a plant is there, dead a rotten fruit is there, overripe fruit fallen from the tree, getting rotten on the soil, decomposition is happening. Now, is the fungi bringing about the decomposition? No, the fungi is not bringing about the decomposition. The bacteria brings about decomposition, and when decomposition has started, now fungi starts growing there. Why? Because fungi are not decomposers. Bacteria are the decomposers. Remember, that's why we always write down the definition. Feed on. They are not bringing about decomposition. They feed on soluble nutrients of dead and decaying organic matter. Now, let us write one difference between, take one question, right? One difference between. Now, when I say one difference between, how are you supposed to write them first?
One difference along with an example.
How will you write? What would be the presentation?
In a tabular form.
In a tabular form, always. Presentation for the 10th standard student matters a lot. How do you write your answer? So now that I give you write one difference, 1 point of difference with an example asked or not asked. 1 point of difference you write with an example and in the form of a neat table you write. Take the question, write one difference between the parasitic and saprophytic mode of nutrition. Parasitic and saprophytic mode of nutrition. Now, parasitic and saprophytic mode of nutrition, generally we see that the students would generally straight away write down the definition that they may have memorized.
Instead of that, once you understand the concept and write down the main points of differences, that is much better. Let us write one question so you get an idea how do we write answers. Make a tables, parasitic mode and saprophytic mode. Parasitic mode of nutrition, parasitic mode and saprophytic mode, make a table. Pencil ढूंढना पड़ रहा है. You have to have a proper pouch when you come to the class. Diagrams enough will be drawn. Okay? So you should not keep on sharing the same pencil. One will finish the work, then the other will get the pencil and start doing the work. That much time we cannot give you. Each one of you should have a proper pouch, pencil, eraser, सब कुछ होना चाहिए. Write down difference between, make a table and let us write down the differences. The first point, I'll give you 2 points of difference and then an example out of any of those 2 points. As per the question you will answer, write on the first point. Under parasitic mode, association between 2 organisms, comma, both are living. Association between 2 organisms, both are living. Other side, saprophytic or saprophytic. Association between 2 living organisms also you can write. Association between 2 living organisms. Association between 2 living organisms. Other side. Association between 1 living. Association between 1 living and 1 dead organism. Association between 1 living and 1 dead organism. Second difference, we are writing down differences between parasitic mode and saprophytic. What can be the other difference to write?
Parasite depends on the host.
A parasitic organism cannot digest the food, so it needs already digested.
Then what will you write parallel for saprophytic? Differences when you write, remember the same feature you have to write both the columns, both the sides. I'll tell you what students always make a mistake when they write differences. Okay, let us complete there. Parasitic mode and saprophytic. We can write the category of organisms also here. Parasitic. Organisms which do not have any systems, any system for digesting food, feed by this method, saprophytic. Organisms of this category are developed only till tissues or few organs. Organisms for saprophytes, organisms of this category are developed only till tissues or organs and hence are simple. What is the second point you are writing? You are writing their complexity. Complexity when you are writing. For a parasite, we understand the mosquito is also a parasite. When we understand the tapeworm is a parasite, the leeches are parasite, which are also quite complex. The leeches are quite complex. Invertebrates we are talking about. Then when we are talking about the roundworms, they are also quite complex in their structures. Then what about the fungi? The fungi are complex. Then these earthworm, the leech and the roundworm or the mushrooms are more complex. But the mushrooms are much simpler. They don't even have any system in their body, so there's no concept of digesting food at all inside their body. They are always dependent on soluble nutrients. Now, there are many such differences about their cell wall and the cell membrane. That part we are not writing now, you don't need that detail at all. Now, write examples, 2 examples in each category that you write on your own. 2 examples in each category you write.
I said you have to write both host and parasite.
No, host and parasite I just explained. You write only examples of parasite. You write only examples of parasite.
What's the other example for saprophytic?
Saprophytic, you can write muca, you can write bread mold, you can write mushroom, all these examples. So this is what we had studied just now, division about the entire concept of nutrition. Only this much is there in your syllabus, but when we talk about the heterotrophic mode, there are many more. There are many more methods. We are not talking about all of those. Only this many times we are going to talk about autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition. There are many differences generally to talk about. In your exam, you generally get maximum 2 points of difference to write down. Autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. What are some of the major differences that you should write autotrophic and heterotrophic?
Autotrophs produce them.
Autotrophs, they have specific, don't write the entire definition again, I tell you. Write down the specific points only. Autotrophs possess special pigments like chlorophyll, etc. Heterotrophs
Do not have
do
any
not
sense.
possess. What is the other difference we can write?
Autotrophs
They depend on sunlight. Heterotrophs
depend on
not
other living
dependent on sunlight. What is something else that we can write? Autotrophs take in oxygen, carbon dioxide and release oxygen. What about the heterotrophs?
Heterotrophs take in oxygen,
Take in
release
oxygen and release carbon dioxide. So these are certain processes that we can write down. Differences between autotrophs and heterotrophs, at least 3 points of differences we are going to write. Take down the next table, another table. Difference between autotrophs and heterotrophs. We have already learned the definition, examples. Remember what differences you are supposed to write down. And understand the concepts. You should be able to write points on your own. I will give you some few important points to remember. See that you understand what you are writing, so remembering becomes easy. Differences between autotroph and heterotrophs, autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Write bit fast. Or not all, I will tell you. Only few. You don't need all of it. I will tell you. For autotrophic, write down. For autotrophic, the first point. Autotrophic first point, organisms can prepare organic food due to organisms. Don't write from here. I am reframing and giving them. I am just showing. You can just read, go through, but all of it not necessary. Organisms can prepare organic food due to the presence of organisms for autotrophic. organisms can prepare food due to the presence of special pigments like chlorophyll, etc. Chlorophyll, etc. Only one for you is enough. Other than that, there are many. Go to the other side, heterotrophic. They do not possess any special pigments. They do not possess any special pigments, and hence cannot make their own food. Hence cannot make their own food. Second point. Simple, yes. And they do not possess any pigments and hence cannot make their own food. Cannot make their own food. Second, autotrophic utilizes simple inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water, minerals, etc. to make glucose. Water, minerals to make glucose. Heterotrophic complex carbon compounds are taken and broken down as source of nutrients. Last, number 3. For autotrophic, solar energy is converted into chemical energy. Solar energy is converted into chemical energy. Other side, for heterotrophic, chemical energy is converted into heat. Chemical energy is converted into heat. Now, what are you writing? Heterotrophic. Heterotrophic, we don't have any pigments. The complex organic food that we take, that only has to be broken down as source of nutrients, and whatever type of compound food we take it, that only gets broken down in our body to release energy in what form? In the form of heat in our body. Differences between autotrophs. Now, write one example each for autotroph and heterotroph now in that column. 3 differences you had already written down. Now you write down one difference each for autotroph and heterotroph. What would you write? One example of autotroph, what would you write? Write down. One example of heterotroph, write down one example of heterotroph. Now, since we are talking about autotrophic mode of nutrition, and already now we have learned that photoautotrophic is the major concept of autotrophic nutrition. The moment we are talking about autotrophic nutrition, we always remember plants. The moment we talk about autotrophic nutrition, we always understand that the green plants and the chlorophyll and the sugar, the glucose and the sunlight, that is the first thing that comes to our mind, the concept of autotrophic nutrition. But little bit we have learned extra today that all organisms which are autotrophic may not be dependent on sunlight. So now the next topic that we are going to talk about will be photosynthesis, a very important topic there where various different type of questions you are asked. What is photosynthesis? Where does photosynthesis take place? Did you study about this process photosynthesis earlier?
Yes.
Can you tell me 5 points on this?
Photosynthesis is a process that takes place in the presence of sunlight, water, and carbon.
Sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, okay, anything else?
Photosynthesis.
Okay, photosynthesis takes place, all of you should respond. Photosynthesis, when we are talking about photosynthesis, is a process taking place in the green plants majorly. Again, is photosynthesis happening in plants which has got red colored leaves,
No.
yellow colored leaves?
No.
There are many geographical areas where the leaves are orange also, red also.
How do they?
Photosynthesis taking place there?
If not, then how do they?
Okay. Answer my question first. Don't ask me a question on top of that. You first of all answer my question. Do plants, did you ever read anywhere, did you ever come across anywhere that they undergo process of photosynthesis? Definitely they do. Whenever we are talking about, now the plants, say suppose we are in such a geographical area where the plants you always see leaves are green. But go to certain countries where we come across, the leaves are yellow, the leaves are red, the leaves are orange, pink also in color. Then what about the process of photosynthesis? How is that plant making the glucose? How is that plant growing and flourishing? Definitely by the process of photosynthesis. Only that the type of pigment we had already mentioned in our answers. The type of pigment that the autotroph should possess is chlorophyll, but there are many other type of photosynthetic pigments, which can be carotenoids, which can be xanthophylls, flavonoids, etc., etc. Now try understanding what I am telling you. I will talk about the green leaf, which is undergoing the process of photosynthesis. Now, which is the predominant pigment there? Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll is definitely undergoing the process of photosynthesis. But if I am talking about a leaf which is orange in color, then what? The chlorophyll is in a smaller fraction and some other photosynthetic pigment is prominent there, which is hiding the green color, and that color is prominent, and that pigment also has the capacity to trap sunlight and carry on the process of photosynthesis and manufacture organic food in the process of organic food in the form of glucose. Always remember, if I talk about plants with leaves which are colored other than green, does not mean that they are not able to undergo the process of photosynthesis. They impart color, but apart from that also they are able to undergo the process. Little bit of it you already studied in the 9th standard. What were the different type of plastids you had studied?
Chloroplast and chloroplast.
Chromoplast. What were the different types? Chromoplasts. And what was the function of chromoplast? Impart color to fruits, flowers you had studied. No? So when we are talking about chromoplast, remember there are various different type of chromoplast where chromoplast can, you have different types, different type of pigments, and yes, they also can carry out the process of photosynthesis. So now we are going to study the concept of photosynthesis. Where does it happen? How does it happen? What is the chemical equation? What are the raw materials? What would be the products? What are the phases? So we start with this, the basic concept of photosynthesis. Now, to define what is photosynthesis, now you will write down the definition at the end once you understand the concept. We'll start with the chemical equation. What is the overall chemical equation? Once you know the overall chemical equation, you know Once you are able to understand the overall chemical equation, you almost know the concept. Let us write down the overall chemical equation. What is necessary for the process of photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide. Already you have written in all those concepts of autotrophic nutrition. Carbon dioxide is necessary. What more? Water is necessary. What else? Chlorophyll is necessary and sunlight is necessary. So what are we going to write down? 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 12 molecules of water. 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 12 molecules of water. In the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, will give what?
C6H12.
Glucose. Organic food. Already we have written in the definitions. No? Organic food. How many molecules? Only one. C6H12O6. And what now?
6O2.
6O2 and
6H2O.
6H2O. Write down this equation exactly how I have written down. You already know. If it's an equation, can we write it in 2 parts in 2 lines? No. We cannot. We have to write it in one single line. Even in your exam, remember to write one single line. You cannot break it up and write in 2 parts. Now let us talk about this chemical equation. This particular chemical equation that we are talking about, carbon dioxide and water that I say, this carbon dioxide and water, these are known as what? This is known as the raw materials. What is this known as? Raw materials. What do you understand by raw materials? Substances necessary for a process. So I start this way, try understanding. I'm saying that the carbon dioxide and the water, what are these? These are the raw materials. Which is the first raw material I'm talking about? Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the first raw material I'm talking about. How does the plant get this? From where does the plant get it? In what form? How? Etc. Everything to know. Carbon dioxide is the first raw material. From where does the plant get it?
Atmosphere.
Air. Atmosphere. From where is the plant getting it? The plant is getting it from atmosphere. The source. The plant is getting the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. But I'm talking about a particular plant. I am talking about a particular plant, and these leaves are undergoing the process of photosynthesis. How would this carbon dioxide enter into this leaf? By special pores known as stomata. Huh? Stomata is the opening, and that opening has cells known as guard cells. Okay? So now you are asked that carbon dioxide, from where does the plant get the carbon dioxide? What is your answer? Atmosphere. How does atmosphere enter into the leaf cells? By special openings on the leaf surface known as stomata. So now the carbon dioxide, how does the plant get it? The carbon dioxide plant will get by the way of the stomata. What is stomata? Stomata, these are special openings or special pores on the leaf surfaces. Special openings, special pores on the leaf surfaces. These are small, millions of them on the under surface of a leaf. Then this carbon dioxide that is entering into the leaf cells, what is the process? How does it enter?
The guard cells.
How does it enter? What could be the process? Diffusion. Diffusion.
Guard cells.
Here carbon dioxide is so much in the atmosphere. Concentration is very high. Inside the leaf cell, concentration is less. What is the concept of diffusion?
Higher concentration
Higher
to lower
Substances moving, molecules of substances moving from a region of high to low. Every time. So how come the carbon dioxide is entering into the leaf? Yes, outside in the atmosphere, carbon dioxide is always so high. So by what process is this carbon dioxide entering? The carbon dioxide is entering by the process of diffusion. Any doubt here?
No.
Anything that is doubtful? See that everything that we are discussing becomes very, very clear and you learn the topics here itself. So what am I saying? I am saying that if this is the overall chemical equation of photosynthesis, I am first of all talking about carbon dioxide. How many molecules of carbon dioxide necessary for one molecule of glucose formation? 6 molecules. Now talk about carbon dioxide. From where? Atmosphere. How does it enter into the leaf cells? By special pores on the surface of the leaf known as stomata. We'll learn about stomata later. And what process? Diffusion. Let us talk about water next. We talk about water also a little bit. Next, let I talk about water. Similarly, try understanding the concepts. Water to understand from where would the plant get the water?
Soil.
Soil. From where would the plant? So I would say soil is the source. Okay. Any specialized structures by which or any specialized structures involved here? हाँ xylem है xylem के पहले क्या बोलेंगे root cells the root hair cells are directly in contact. So if I talk about any particular plant, what is at this level? The root hairs, no? The root hair cells are directly coming in contact. So if you get a question, when you get a question, the water enters, how does the water enter into the leaf cells? How does the water enter? Root cells, then the xylem, then the leaf cells. So there's a continuation. We will learn a little bit there also. That how does the soil water enter into these leaf cells? How would the soil water enter? The soil water, now if I talk about that, these are all the root cells. The soil water molecule will first of all enter into the root cell, then travel by the way of the xylem, then enter into the leaf cells. So what is the continuity that we should definitely know? First of all comes the root cells, the root hair cells, followed by the xylem of the root, then the xylem of the stem, and then the leaf cells. This is how the water enters. This is how the water from the soil enters into the leaf cells. This is how the water from the soil enters into the leaf cells. Clear? What process? Did you ever come across? By what process will the water enter the root cells? Which is the process happening here? Osmosis. Yes, you have learned, no? Osmosis you have learned, no? What is the definition of osmosis?
The movement of water.
Shut your mouth. Yes. Bolo.
Movement of the H2O from the
Movement of
H2O
water.
from the high concentration to lower concentration.
Movement of water from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. Yes? Osmosis. So when we are talking about osmosis, are we talking about the movement of any gases?
No.
Solute? Only fluids, only liquids. So if I have to understand, if I have to explain you that how does the water molecule enter the root cell, that is definitely by osmosis. This osmosis? No, diffusion. This is diffusion. So how does the water molecule enter? The water molecule would enter by the process of osmosis. How does the water molecule from the soil enter the root cells, go to the leaf cells? Osmosis. Osmosis. So this is about the raw materials we now talk about. What about the raw materials? This is what we try understanding. Now, apart from the raw materials, now next one, we have to come across a concept known as chlorophyll. Now, let us take the next component. What is chlorophyll? What is chlorophyll? How is it formed? Where is it manufactured? What is the chemical composition, etc., etc. So now, if I'm talking about chlorophyll, chlorophyll is always, now first of all, if I try to show you this particular type of a structure, don't be confused about the internal structure that you don't need. What is this particular structure that I'm showing you? This is a cell organelle. Plastid. Do you remember this word?
Yes.
Chloroplast. Present in both animal and plant cells.
No, only in plant cells.
Only plant cells.
Then present only in plant cells. Chloroplast I'm talking about. Autotrophs only, not in heterotrophs at all. So this chloroplast that we are talking about, it is a type of a plastid which produces the pigment chlorophyll. Look into such type of plate-like structures which are there inside this organelle. Chloroplast has got this type of plate-like structures. What are these plate-like structures called? They have a specific name. These shape structures called thylakoids. They're called thylakoids. And in each of these packet-like structures or disc-like structure, enough amount of chlorophyll is produced and stored there. Now, if I'm showing this basic structure, try understanding this is a cell organelle present only in the plant cells, which has got two parts. Something like the cytoplasm is there here, which we are going to name it as the stroma. The cytoplasm of the chloroplast known as stroma. I'll draw a basic structure on the board also, and we'll get acquainted with these names also. And at the same time, there are some plate-like structures in hundreds. This is what is called grana. This is what is called grana. We'll learn that. Just have an idea first. What do they look like? How are they? So this is a cross-section of the chloroplast that I'm showing. Chloroplast and chlorophyll. Are you getting confused? Chloroplast is the
Cell
organelle part of the cell. Chlorophyll is the pigment. Chlorophyll is the pigment and chloroplast is the organelle. So this is the organelle that I show you. Where are these present in the leaf cells? Where are these chloroplasts present? Only in the leaf cells? No, in the young green stem also they are present. Any part of the plant green, chloroplast is there, chlorophyll is there. Now this chloroplast, cut them in a section, what we see, there are many other structures. Right now we are only interested in this. A stack-like structures of some packets or discs as if. Each of them known as thylakoid and a stack of them known as grana. Surrounding what? Some matrix like the cytoplasm. What is this matrix called? Stroma. Only this much to understand. Nothing else for you needed. So this is a chloroplast. Where is this chloroplast present? Chloroplast is present in the plant cells, outside the nucleus obviously. And this organelle, very much necessary for the process of photosynthesis. And this organelle has got two major parts. The ground substance, you will come across words like this. Ground substance meaning the matrix, stroma. And a pack of some packet-like structures known as grana. Now, when I talk about the chlorophyll, what did I tell you just now? It is in this pack of plate-like structures that the chlorophyll is being formed. What is chlorophyll? What are we supposed to write? What is chlorophyll? It is a green-colored photosynthetic pigment. Write down the function of chlorophyll. Wait, I'm discussing with you. I'm not asking you. Write down the function of chlorophyll. You get in the paper. What will you write? Helps in trapping of the solar energy. Helps in, that is the function of the chlorophyll. Helps in trapping the solar energy. No? That is its function. Is it actually helping in, is it actually manufacturing glucose? No, it is only trapping the solar energy and the rest of the actions going on there. So let us write down few characteristics of chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? Now you write down. What is chlorophyll? What are you supposed to write down as a one-mark definition or an answer? What is chlorophyll, right? These key terms you definitely have to write when you are framing your answers. Chlorophyll is the green colored. Chlorophyll is the green colored photosynthetic pigment. Chlorophyll is the green colored photosynthetic pigment. Green colored photosynthetic pigment produced by chloroplast. Where do we find or what would be the job of the chlorophyll? Let us finish with this first. Function. What is the function of chlorophyll? Traps the solar energy or sunlight. That also you can write. Traps sunlight. Traps the solar energy. Traps sunlight. That is the function of chlorophyll to write. Now the composition part actually for you are not needed. The composition part we don't need. Now we have to, since we are talking about chlorophyll here itself, we will also talk about chloroplast a little bit because in the later part of the chapter we need this. Chloroplast, there's a similar diagram in your textbook. How many of you have your textbooks with you? No, your NCRT textbook.
No.
You don't have. Anybody has the textbook? Find out the chapter there. There. This time. See this also first and then understand. Now see this, whenever we are talking about a leaf, try to understand this diagram you have in your textbook. This diagram you have in your textbook, you get diagram based questions on this. What is this? This is the leaf. It's a part of a leaf shown. What about this one? The section of the veins shown here, from where you get an idea about the xylem, phloem, as well as the layers of the cells of a leaf. Now, what are the cells? What are the layers of the cells? The layers of the cells of a leaf when we come across. What is the topmost layer? Epidermis. Take a note. This diagram, just check what is the diagram. 6.1 or what is this?
Cross section of the leaf.
No, figure number.
5.1.
Mark that in your textbook. That's very, very important. Put it inside the box. Mark there. Read, study figure number 5.1. Figure 5.1, cross section of a leaf. You should know every part of this diagram and questions definitely on this. So what is this upper layer known as? Epidermis. Then we have got certain layers of cells. Now, the number of layers of cells will be more if I'm talking about a thick leaf, and the number of layers will be thin if I'm talking about will be less if I'm talking about a thin leaf like the tulsi and all. If I'm talking about, the layers are less. And if I'm talking about thick leaves like the mango or the aloe vera, these are thick leaves, many layers of cells. But whatever it is, thicker or thinner, this arrangement of cells are always there. This arrangement of cells are always there. So between the upper epidermis and the lower epidermis, there are layers of cells. And inside each of these cells, can you see there are a large number of these chloroplasts. In these layers of cells, there will be large number of organelles, chloroplasts producing the chlorophyll. Between the cells, there are air spaces. What are we going to talk about? These air spaces. These air spaces, because carbon dioxide is moving through these air spaces to reach the upper layers of cells where the process of photosynthesis can happen. Where is stomata? We already talked about stomata. Where is stomata present? On the lower surface of the leaf majorly. Are they present on the upper surface also? Much lesser in number. For most of the leaves, the number of stomata on the lower surface, if it is 20, for an example, on the upper surface it would be just 2 or 3. So compare the lower surface and the upper surface of the leaf. The lower surface has got numerous stomata as compared to the upper surface which has got just few. So the movement of carbon dioxide is always from the lower layers of cells to the upper layers. So these spaces generally help in the process of diffusion. Which is this pore that has been shown? Stomata, and the cells of the stomata known as the guard cells. Did you understand this diagram? So what is this diagram about? It is talking about the cross section of the leaf. It shows the upper and the lower epidermis, and between the upper and the lower epidermis, the layers of the cells. But what is present inside every single cell? Which organelle is marked here? The organelle is chloroplast. What is this? Stomata, and the job of the stomata you know now. What is the function of the stomata you know now. We are talking about the chloroplast, and I said that chloroplast is an organelle majorly present on the lower surface of the leaf. It is majorly present on the lower surface. On the lower surface of the leaf.
Chloroplast is majorly present on the
Chloroplast, majorly present on the lower surface of the leaf. What are the two parts of the chloroplast? We are going to understand. The first part is known as what? The granum. You remember which one I showed you as the granum?
Yes.
Granum. Granum is a stack of sac-like structures. A stack of sac-like structures, and that is what is known as granum. What is the next one? Stroma. What is stroma? Stroma is the cytoplasm-like substance. Stroma, where do we find the stroma?
In the chloroplast.
In the chloroplast. The stroma is surrounding the granum. Okay. Later, remember, when we study the phases, we are going to also understand what are the different phases of photosynthesis. There again, we will understand the role of the stroma and the granum. So here for the chlorophyll, the definition you should remember. Now we go to the other side. Sunlight we don't discuss as such. You don't have to study much about the sunlight. Only that a specific intensity of sunlight very much necessary for the chlorophyll to activate. For you, you generally don't have anything in detail to study about the role of the sunlight and the strength of the sunlight. Nothing there. You have to study a little bit about the chlorophyll. What about this? Glucose, the organic food. We'll talk about this part later. But now, look into the products. What is the product of the process of photosynthesis? What are the products?
Glucose, oxygen.
Products. The question is, name the products of the process of photosynthesis. What do you write? Glucose, oxygen, water. Name the byproducts of the process of photosynthesis. Byproducts means apart from the main product, what else is released? So, if I say glucose is the main product, then apart from the main product glucose, what else is released?
Oxygen and water.
Oxygen and water. So now, when I talk about oxygen and water, are we going to write that oxygen and water is the byproduct?
Yes.
Oxygen and water are the byproducts. All of you have written down the chemical equation of photosynthesis?
Yes.
Overall equation of photosynthesis written down?
Yes.
Now write down the equation again.
Same equation.
Same equation without saying on your own. Write down the equation. I'm going to give you some 2-3 questions based on the equation as homework. Write very fast. You're going to try that as homework. Anything not understood, next class you're going to come and ask me again. Write down the overall chemical equation of photosynthesis on your own. Wrote?
Yes.
Wrote 12H2O. Now, in your book, I suppose it's 12H2O only written. Check. Go through this part of the chapter in NCERT also, in your textbook. Go through this part of the chapter. What is that? Equation written down. Wait, the questions they go. Done? All of you wrote down the equation? Under that you write down the questions now. Question number 1. No, that's a continuous question. Okay? Write down question number 1, that is all based on the equation. Question number 1. Name the main product of photosynthesis. Name the primary product also you will be asked.
The main
Product of photosynthesis. You may leave 2 lines for your answer in between. Second question, name the byproducts of the process. Name the byproducts of the process. Number 3, number C,
name the byproducts
of the process. Same process we are talking about. Mention 2 sites. Mention 2 sites of the plant. SITES. Mention 2 sites of the plant where the process takes place. Where the process takes place. 1 line for the answer, and the last question, number 4. Number 4. How many molecules of carbon dioxide is necessary to form 1 molecule of glucose? Molecules of carbon dioxide is necessary to form 1 molecule of glucose. How many molecules of carbon dioxide necessary to form 1 molecule of glucose? Done? Yes. Homework not done. You'll have to go and sit down in the reception. Complete your work 3 times and then I will take you inside the classroom. Huh? That is up to you, how you will manage time. You are so busy, I know very well. Cut down time, cut down your phone time, cut down your TV time and devote more time for productive study now.